Hello, Matt. Getting some ball busting on the Twitter sphere because it has been brought to my attention that they're going to start a drinking game every time me or you says nuance. and I, I guess I say nuance
the
a lot.
nuance in that is I'm thirsty.
That's your second shot of nuance drinking. We're going to talk about nuance today, but there was no nuance last night, Matt. Let's go to it first here. Why wouldn't we? Kind of under the radar most years. Actually, it wasn't on the trading floor. A lot of hockey fans on the trading floor. Chicago Blackhawks had just a ton of fans that were traders. Anyway, we got the Frozen Four NCAA division. You know, the first thing I noticed, and we're going to show the game winner for St. Cloud State here. Compliments of NCAA.com. Definitely.com. And by the way, we're marketvitals.io, not .com. You can find us there. 3 Minnesota schools and UMass, right?
Yep, in the Final Four, right?
And if I could, let's share. Let's go to it, Matt. Again, NCAA.com. Let me go full screen here because so it's tied 4-4, 57 seconds left. Deep left corner. That's the St. Cloud State guy skating to the puck. And watch this goal. It happened so fast, but watch it now in slow-mo.
Oh, my God. It rifled it right through everybody. Oh, tip. Yeah.
Filthy.
Dirty. What a tip. Nobody saw it. Oh my
Just God. Filthy. St. Cloud State, first time to a final. Congratulations to them. Just awesome stuff, man. What we love to see. The Huskies, St. Cloud State, going to represent Minnesota. Little nuance there on the pronunciation, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get them fucked up if they're playing nuance drinking here at marketvitals.io. Anyway, that game's Saturday night. And another thing that we wanted to just bring up here is sticking with the NCAA, Matt, and maybe we could do some price discovery on Viacom, who owns CBS. But although it was just an absolute incredible drubbing that Gonzaga took from Baylor, the worst ever, Matt, the worst ever rated NCAA men's final game since they've been tracking, I guess.
Yeah, it was the worst overall, but then the ad revenues was the highest of all time. Interesting.
Somebody's not happy about that.
Yeah, the championship game brought in 103 million, just shy of, which was 50 or 20. Let's see, what was that? We had 80.5 in 2019, so a considerable, 25% upgrade there in the final game ad revenues. They had 4 more slots, but they were charging more, and this was by far the lowest watched NCAA final game. So it's interesting. The average game saw 3.82 million viewers. So that's interesting in itself. That means every game, had about 4 million, which is about a 13% decline from the 2019. So again, once again, COVID's having its effect on all sports TV ratings, which I don't know what to make. I really don't know what to make of it, Bob.
Well, it's because you would think with people locked up, the ratings would have been through the roof, and yet.
But every sport's been like this, so it's consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So does that just mean the apathy levels are higher than ever right now? 15 months into this shutdown.
I don't know what to make of it either. And so Viacom, is there any price discovery to talk? Viacom owns CBS, correct?
Yeah, we can take a look at it.
Let's look at it. Why wouldn't we? That's what we do.
Yeah. So let's bring that up here real quick. 1 second, please, sir. For the week, again, here was the Monday. This was the day of the game, and we opened up and traded down and reacted the day after, and we're back to the low of the week. So not really much has happened. That's just a short-term chart. I figured we, see if we could see some action around that. But there's not a heck of a lot that changed over the week. But this thing had been hammered of late. And,
Holy smokes! Look at
yeah.
that long term.
Well, this just was the end of March, so they must have known that the numbers were coming, and this thing. I mean, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's going forward. You're not getting those type of ad revs if nobody's watching.
But Bob, this is crazy. This is March 22nd. We peaked at $100, and we rolled from there all the way down here. I mean, that's a 60% haircut in the last 2 weeks. I don't. It's interesting. Again, I haven't even been following Viacom, so. Totally missed this move, but holy smokes, that's a bludgeoning. That is a bludgeoning. You just don't see that much. But again, yeah, $26 billion market cap, back into balance. Again, we talk about this all the time. People don't think that we can come back into these levels. We're so far out, and look where we did. We went right to it. So,
that's a great point. Take heed. This is how markets work. They refine their value areas.
Yeah, they come back, and so this big blow off into the tournament, really, the tournament starting right around here in mid March was the high, which is what I would expect, sell the news, sell the event when it starts, and that's what happened very clearly. That was a serious bludgeoning, Bob. So sorry, Viacom.
All right, Matt, other news out today.
Maybe they'll make up for it with the Masters this weekend, since that's also under their umbrella, and they're.
Yeah, we're going to go to the Masters in a second here, but first we're going to do a little R.I.P. to the Duke, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, the husband of the Queen, second man for 50 years, right?
Oh, no. I mean,
70 years.
They were married 77 or something. 70.
Unreal. I really enjoyed the who did it, Netflix or whoever did the Queen. And they had two different actors play the Duke. A pretty interesting dude to play second fiddle for all those years. And quite the personality when he was young.
So apparently, I was reading this morning that the royals have shut down all governmental. They're basically going into a forced mourning period for 8 days, and then they're going to do another 30 days after the 8. So you're not going to hear anything from the Queen or the group. Now they're also talking about he had some things that he wanted in his will. He wanted a military parade. For himself, but with COVID restrictions, and this is yet to be determined, I guess. So it's kind of an interesting story because there's a lot of history. Obviously, he was a World War II vet. They got married in 47. It's what's that? 73 years. They 73, 74 years they were married. But that's interesting to me. I find it interesting, anyways, Bob, that they are shutting down the entire kind of government for the next 40 days.
First thing I thought was interesting was I didn't know the royal family has a Twitter handle, and he was, in the documentary, The Queen, he really brought the royal family into the spotlight on a more personal level. For sure, they portrayed that. It brought TVs into the palace, yada, yada, yada. Matt, let's talk price discovery, though, because we talk about the dollar all the time. And I just want to talk about the nuance between just the dollar index and all those things versus the dollar. We talk dollar pairs, right? Because there's a lot of different stories being told. The pound, the Swiss, the euro, the Canada, the Kiwi, the Australian, even the Mexican peso. These charts look a lot different than just the dollar index. So you want to share or you want me to go?
Which one do you want me to look at?
Let's look at the pound first, because it had been doing great against the dollar, as the dollar was also doing well, which was interesting. The pound, the Canada, the Kiwi, the New Zealand, all of them were relatively better than the than the dollar. The dollar really made its hay against the euro and the Swiss. 6B1.
Yeah, I'm there. It's not coming up for me.
6B1 exclamation point.
Yep, I have it. Let's see if I can bring it up here, Bob. Why don't you bring it in, and then I'll go over it after.
Right on.
Technology.
This is the weekly, Matt. The weekly dollar pound futures. Futures. Back to the futures. CME at CME at the Twitter handle there. And for me, the pound was on a scream here. A little pullback here over the last 6-7 weeks, but right down to that lower momentum level, which we pinged off of this week. So for me, is that a top or is that just a flag for another leg higher? Maybe we go check out all-time highs around that 144 level. For me, everything hinges on this week and or next week or the week after, closing that into lower momentum. And as long as they don't, I'm still relatively friendly. The pound versus the dollar. And then I want to just show this. And this is like I was just talking about, the dollar versus the euro, a completely different chart here. The dollar has made good hay against the euro. And this week being the first week in a while here, closing out of lower momentum. So, for me, I think this, we're going to get some settling out here and maybe sideways action, even dollar index. But the components are interesting to see. And here's the dollar Swiss. Again, the dollar had been made great hay against the Swiss. Again, this week, the first week closing out of lower momentum. And then along with the pound, when you look at the dollar versus the Canada's at a great run. The dollar versus the Aussie, same thing, a great run. And I don't have the Kiwi up here, but last but not least, the Mexican peso. Again, the peso had a great run against the dollar too. So interesting that there is such dynamic, and we've only really talked about recently just the dollar index, but for sure, just like Bitcoin, and we just call dollar the Bitcoin, these alts or these other crosses are telling much different stories when you look at them individually.
Yes and no. It's interesting. I don't see a lot of bullishness on any of them, quite honestly, but it's still driven by the dollar. Let's start with Swiss. And again, looking at the Swiss franc here, we peaked right at the top, which again matches with what the market was doing. All the other currencies peaked at the end of the year. We talked about this. The dollar bottomed at the end of the year, and the Swiss franc has gone from 114.39. It dipped below $1 here just a couple days ago. So that's a bludgeoning is what that is. So I don't see anything bullish still in this chart. Matter of fact, I'd be, any rallies up into the 110, 115 area, 110, 112 area, I'd be a big seller. So, that's just coming back into the meat of this profile up in here. So I could see that happening. As far as the peso, let me take a look at that also. Again, this one's pretty bullish. This one looks decent compared to the rest. But again, it's not, it made highs at the end of the year and has not also taken out those. So it's coming back up into an area. Mexico stronger than the Swissy, which makes some sense. The euro, again, this thing's been nothing but death, and I don't see this changing. Europe is in such shambles, Bob. This should not change and be any different. I just think it held the first time that it went to this area here, but the next time it goes through, there's a lot further to go on the downside when it comes to the euro. And then the pound, kind of the same thing here. We're just looking at 89-minute charts, and this thing peaked out at the end of the year right here, just like everything else. That was February, but it hasn't done a heck of a lot since, the pound. So peaked out here at 142, trading down to 137. That's a significant bludgeoning. Still bullish for sure, but
and that's all I'm trying to point out is this nuance. The dollar index is a basket against all of them.
Yeah,
and so there's different stories to be told, and maybe there's a better cross, being long pound, short euro, or short Swiss, or being long Canada, short euro, short Swiss. One of those type of crosses. You know
Well,
what we didn't look at was the yen. Or I didn't put it up.
yeah,
But let's look at the Canada and then look at the yen also.
yeah. Well, here's the Canadian dollar. The loonie again peaked out here in March at 80 cents after coming way back because it was down to, I think it got into the six handles at the end, at some point last spring. At the low there it was down to 68 cents. So you can go over to Windsor and your dollar turns into about $1.50. Those were that was like when I was growing up. You could go over there with $10 and you'd get like 25. And Berdors were like $1.75. So
I gotta tell you, I took the family skiing in Whistler one time and went into the lodge and ordered 4 cheeseburgers, a couple beers, a couple Cokes, gave them 100 US and got 100 and change back in Canadian, and the person taking the money was like, that is so unfair. I'm like, hey, free lunch on Canada, thank you.
And you were getting raped on the exchange rate even. So that's pretty good, Bob.
Probably, exactly. All right, let's go to the yen. Let's talk the yen, dollar yen.
All right, hang on 1 second. Let me try to bring this up. Gosh darn it. I didn't have it ready to go here, so excuse me. Dang.
I can't find it either. There it is.
I'm just trying to get it to come up. See if you can get it to come up. I'm having all kinds of issues here this morning.
We got technical issues on set. All right, let me bring it up if you can't find it.
Yeah, go for it. It's not that I can't find it. It's just not playing nice to me right now.
Yes. Because this is interesting too. The yen just schmeezed, and unlike the euro or the Swiss, not able to sustain and close this week above that low momentum line on the weekly. So the yen by far looking the weakest of all of the crosses that we've looked at here today on the weekly, and continues to look like it wants to maybe go look at its lows from 18 and 19, somewhere around that 87 level, 0087 level. And again, so incredibly important when you're trading, if you're just trading the dollar index, that's fine. But I think there's probably better stories out there trading the individual components. And you can do that via the FX markets or the Merck. And the Merck also now has micro contracts to trade foreign currencies, dollar-based foreign currency exposure. And of course, you can get that cross exposure by being, for instance, long Canada, short dollar, and then long dollar, short yen, and you take the dollar out of it. Now you're long Canada, short yen. A little nuanced trading. Costs you a little bit more in commission, but you can actually do that in futures. You can also do it in FX straight out on that cross, but you can accomplish the same thing in futures by doing 2 legs that negates your dollar exposure in the pair.
Yeah.
Matt, I think we should be teaching something for the CME, don't you? Because I just got them double commissions for trading the Canada yen pair. Hey, at CME, how about it?
For sure. Come on, CME, step up.
Step up.
Hey, a couple things I wanted to throw out. I don't know if you saw this morning. Consumer credit, which we haven't talked about here much lately, but jumped in February. And revolving debt in the same time, this is what I found interesting about it. So credit card debt is down sharply from a year ago. So, maybe some of these, stimulus checks have found their way to pay down debt, which is a good thing, I would think. And now we're getting we had a 10% increase in February over the period previously. So are we making a change here? And you can kind of see this right here. That maybe we're finding a bottom in debt, and maybe we're ramping back up again. I just thought it was interesting. In February, it seemed like it kind of came to roost again, and people started tapping into their credit lines which is again. I mean, didn't the stimulus checks come out right in January, February? So I found this to be a little bit of an interest to me. And then student loans continue to be a larger percentage of the overall consumer credit debt, picture. And that's not a good thing, Bob. Again, this has gotten so out of hand. As I told you, I was kind of dealing with, next year's financial aid and debt maneuverability for my kids that are in college. And it's a real pain in the butt, to discern and find your way through the minefields of student loans and all that right now. It's an extremely, strange place for sure.
All right, man, I'm trying to find the chart. We got in the chat here, euro pound. I want to find that cross. You by chance have that cross? Because I'll tell you what it's going to look like. I think you're going to want to be long the pound, short the euro, right? I mean, that's when I looked at those two other crosses, the components of it, that's what it's looking like to me. A little pullback probably here to buy the pound versus the euro. But I cannot find it. I got the pound versus everything else except the euro here on my
what do you want?
The GBP EUR, the pound euro. The only one I can see here
I'm
is
not finding it. I'm not finding it either.
Not finding it.
Yeah, I'm not finding it. But I'm not active in the Forex markets. So sorry.
Nuance here. Warren, we're going to get this chart. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to find this chart at some point. Let's go to Forex and see if we can find it. I mean, you would think it'd be the first one that pops up.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
It doesn't, right?
No luck. Let's move on.
What else you got, Matt?
So, Tommy Fleetwood had the hole-in-one yesterday on the Masters 16th hole. And how about the shirts he's wearing? Let's talk about that.
Well, you know what? God bless him for the shirts that he's wearing. And hold on a second. We can talk Masters, but we might as well go there, right? Let's get to the driving range. Masters driving range live. Working. Beautiful morning today in Augusta. A slight breeze, 67 degrees, low humidity. Little cloud cover is going to burn off. Let me just tell you something. If Nike is going to sponsor me or us on the show, I'll wear anything, even that ugly shirt that Tommy Fleetwood has on.
I don't think it's a Nike shirt, though. I don't think so.
Yeah, 100% Nike, 100%.
Okay. All right.
100% Nike shirt, brutal. Now, forever, it'll be like, why did I wear that shirt? Oh, yeah, Nike paid me $3 million a year to wear it. Oh, okay. What do you think he gets paid?
$3 to $5 million just for being a Nike sponsor a year, for sure. I mean,
God bless him. All right, I found the euro. Cross chart. And amazingly, this is a Oanda, which is a FX platform. And again, so that euro had been cratering versus the pound, and a nice pullback here today. But you know what? It just went to the average and got rejected hard. Matt, because I can pull a little profile here, and this is going to be a long range profile because we are on the weekly here. But how far do you? 2020?
Sure. I would go back like 2 or 3 years, but yeah.
So just trying to get back into balance here, which would be this low here, 87.48. If it stays below there, I still think you're better off short euro, long pound, the way I'm looking at it. Agree or disagree? With money, against money?
I mean, it's bearish. So all rallies, 88, 90 cents up in there, I'd be a big seller for sure. I just don't see it, and today's that first recovery day. So we'll see.
That's a weekly. So it's the first week that they've had some clawback here.
Yeah.
But God save the Queen. And let's buy some pounds, sell some euros.
So on the leaderboard, Bob, we've got Weisberger and Leishman have come out of nowhere, and Justin Rose has fallen back. So you got a 3-way tie, and most of the field hasn't really teed off. But the other thing that was interesting is Tommy. Like, speaking to Tommy, he's making the move now too. He's got the different colored version of that same shirt today, and Spieth and my boy again, Will Zalatoris, holding in there right now. And I want to see him play strong today. Today's the move, the big day for him. I think he's got to post a -3 or 4 to make a move for Saturday, Sunday, be positioned. So I would like to see
Right
that.
on, baby. Right
And then
on.
Patrick Reed hasn't teed off. He was one of my win it all guys. I definitely don't have Weisberg. I don't have Leishman. I don't have Rose. I have Matsusuma. I have Spieth, and I got another 7 or 8 guys, but most of them aren't playing yet. So I don't know. It's too early. I don't even like to really think about my win it all bets until Sunday morning. Then I'll start.
A couple years ago, a nephew asked, a cousin's son. The kid put 1,000 on Tiger when he won it.
And
he was 32 to 1.
18 or 19 when he won that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And his brother, who is a scratch golfer, because the betting company was offering him buyouts, right? After the 3rd round, and they were offering him 20 grand to get out of the bet after the 3rd round. And the kid said,
nope.
Double flybirds, and he took it right to the end and took 32 grand home on 1,000 to win on Tiger.
I would not have the sack to do that, but good for him.
I just thought it was great that and I didn't even know this, that they're like, all right, who's got him? Who's got 1,000 on him? What's his phone number? We need to get a hold of him.
Get that guy on the phone right now. Hey, Bob, let's talk about how this market, we had basically, Easter weekend last week, and, this, I don't know, the last 2 weeks have just felt weird. This is like 12 days in a row without a sell-off in the broader markets. And we're up, 7% on the SPOOs. We had, we're at all-time highs, 4,100. It's just, give me your take on where you think we're heading. We're just not moving though either. When you look at this week,
the volume for sure has been dog shit, right?
Yeah. Like I literally have very little that I'm interested in participating in right now. And, one of the hardest things I think for people to realize is when you get in markets like this, you can't force it. You can't force it to go up or down, and it's not doing either. So it
is going up, man. And the week is a solid green candle higher. Looks like if we close now, we're going to close on the highs. You got expanding potentiality on the weekly and the monthly. For me, there's no nuance to that. If you can't find it in your heart to sell it, I mean, to buy it, please don't sell it until it shows some sort of weakness. Yeah. And I don't see weakness on pretty much any time frame. The ranges have been small. The ranges have been collapsing, and the bands have been collapsing on the shorter time frames. But we haven't been able to fully, close low or close under averages, close in lower momentum on some sort of meaningful shorter time frame. And by that I mean, I like the 610, the 377, the 233, the 144 minute, these fractals of Fibonacci's. And none of them are telling me anything yet. So,
well, let me just take a look at a long-term chart. Here's the election night low of 3,200. Let's call it 3,220. So we're up 900 points, Bob, or right around 30% since then. So in 5 months, we've gone up, 35%. And that's a heck of a run, to your point, and nothing but blue skies ahead, right? But there's no pullback, so I don't know where you're buying along the way here. You literally are plugging your nose and just tucking your knees, your head between your knees, and that's, if that's working for you, great, because there's been no significant sells here, really.
I mean, the crazy thing is when you look at the monthly, there's been there's been about 6 months, not even 1, 2, 5. Let's call it since 2012. There's literally been 10 months that have been down.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And so
9 years.
Goes the market. You're fighting City Hall though. If you're trying to short it, you're fighting City Hall.
Yeah, I mean, but again, let's just look at the weekly on the profile. Guess where your balance is? It's 1,200 still, Bob. So,
all right, man. I don't know what to say. But the shorts are getting it stuffed in their ass. Where's the And by the way, we're not even going to cover crypto today because Bitcoin has still not done anything.
We're on. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, I can say. I mean, honestly, Bob. I mean, you say the market's like very bullish this week, but don't forget we opened up. Let me just look at this real quick because this is grab another drink. This is the nuance because
we opened Sunday night
on April 5th. This is basically where we opened at 71. So we're trading 98. We're up 27 for the week, Bob. If you bought it Monday on the open, big deal. It's hard to get excited about.
Except last week was a green candle. The week before that was a green candle.
I'm just talking about. I'm saying if you are,
we both missed the buys at 38.40, and we both know it, and we both are regretting not being long from there.
If you bought 38.40 and are still holding at 4,100, congratulations, because you have a better crystal ball than I sure do. Because again, most of this move, I haven't added it up again, but if we looked at most of this move, 80% of it came again after hours. It doesn't trade during the day. That's my point. That's all I think
I'm going to start trading overnight now.
Just buy the close and sell the open and you're good to go. I mean, that's basically how it's been working. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days in a row, Bob. So this is very, again, this is what I call the unlimited fly rod spool. Like this thing is never.
What's your fear? Your fear is that if you're long that day that it turns around, it breaks 20% and you can't get out.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm just asking where are you about? Where are you a buyer today? Where are you a buyer?
I should have been a buyer at 38.40.
Where are you a buyer today, Bob?
Today?
Yes.
I actually tried selling it today and lost money. Thank you very much. Today, the best buy was the 144 lower momentum level at 83.
Well, there it was, right? Boom. But again,
and you took a little bit of heat, but
yeah.
All right, Matt. Listen, we got a week.
But let's just talk about. Here's my point. This total range, high to low today, the total composite range is 17 points, Bob. It is not, and as I tell people, if you're a day trader, your goal should be to take 1/5 of a day's range is a great day as a day trader. So 17 points, 5 of that is about 3.25. Congratulations, Bob. You made 3.25 points on your 700 lot. I mean, if that's who you are, then that's been a great day for you because there's really nothing to do here.
All right, please visit at marketvitals.io. Please share the podcast and the stream. Share it far and wide, and we'll be back next week, Monday, for another segment of Market Vitals. Also Monday going on the 10 Barrel Brewing podcast. I don't know if that's live or Memorex, but we will share that information when we get it. Also Monday, we're having a guest, Bay from Beaksy Exchange. So we're going to, even though crypto's on timeout, maybe it comes out of timeout this weekend, Matt, and we're going to talk crypto on Monday. All right?
Do you think we'll talk some nuance of crypto?
Nuance on crypto, and Warren said, what's Memorex? Oh, give me a good old, what do they call those, Matt? A compilation tape? Would you put together? What?
Mixtapes.
A mixtape. Yeah, my mixtape.
Listen,
Warren, you're putting on my mixtape at the party, God damn it.
Yeah, like, haven't you ever seen what's the movie with John Cusack, where he's owns the
High Fidelity?
Yeah, High Fidelity with Jack Black, and the whole story is about making mixtapes, and your life is one big mixtape. That's one of my. It's such a great
absolutely.
Book. Nick,
all right, Matt. Helter Skelter is my my mixtape for today. So you have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.